Hi everyone, I'm Zen, your astrologer, and welcome to another timeless pick a card reading. Today's subject is very simple and straightforward. It is simply messages from your spirit guides. It can also be the higher self for certain people, and of course, for other people who have been on spiritual journey for a very, very long time now, for some possibly ever since their childhood. Well, it can be from a group of spirits or a certain order of spiritual beings who have always been part of your journey and who you are allied to, not just in this life, obviously, but for many lifetimes and even, beyond this earthly realm. Now, before I get into the reading, this will probably not resonate whatsoever on those people who are not really spiritual or who are not on the spiritual journey, who don't have a very active connection to their spirit guides or the spirit world. May that be through inner processes or synchronicities or whatever. And also, this is where instead of numbers, I used symbolic spiritual figures. So there is the Buddha, there is a totem, and there is a unicorn sitting on an enchanted mirror. So it is these three figures that you have to look at for a couple of seconds or for as long as you need. Then choose the one which you are inspired to listen to. As always, timestamps can be found both in the comments below and also in the description of the video. If you like this reading and if it inspired you, please like and share because that really, really helps. Thank you so much for listening, and now let's get to the reading. For those of you who have chosen the Buddha, your cards are the Temperance, the Four of Swords reversed, and the Faith. In this deck, it's the equivalent of the High Priest reversed. As a guidance, we have the Two of Swords reversed, the King of Chalices reversed, and the Seven of Wands. And as a hint to the future or where this journey is taking you, we have the Fool, Three of Swords reversed, and the Magician. Now, first of all, the Spirit would like to express its unconditional sympathy and support for everything that you have done until this present moment. And this Temperance card has more than one meaning. First of all, it represents that you're really, really, really trying with every fiber of your being to hold balance, to be in harmony with the self, with the universe, with everyone around you. So you're putting a lot of effort, a lot of energy, psychologically speaking, spiritually speaking, and quite possibly even physically, in order to just keep your balance, keep a state of cool, not allow your emotions and thoughts to go into a million different directions, but at the same time, neither to stay in a delusion, like for example, honesty with yourself, being totally honest with whatever you're feeling is really, really important. So this is where if you might have down moments, if you might feel sadness, if you might feel confusion, it's not like you're washing it away, sweeping it under the rug, and just positivizing yourself with force. This is where you're truly trying to stay as honest as possible and obtain the state of balance from a place of total honesty and at least clarity with your own emotions. When something comes up, any emotion, may it be joy or sadness or whatever, fear for example, you are trying to truly accept it, live it, allow it to come to the surface, and of course find out the deeper meaning of it. What is it trying to tell you and teach you? And Spirit truly appreciates this because this takes a lot of effort, this takes a lot of courage, a lot of self-knowledge. And this Four of Swords reversed Many times this causes some restlessness, especially when you look at other people, like not necessarily your closest friends and family, but those can be included as well, but rather just people in general, how ignorant they are and how perhaps misguided they are. And many times you're asking yourself the question, are you truly in a position of true authentic wisdom? Is your openness to the truth and your analytic way of looking at the world, is that truly healthy? Or are you actually in the wrong? Should you also be ignorant? Should you also be, just choosing like blind faith and closing all doors to a certain aspect of the truth, which is extremely uncomfortable, of course. And this is exactly why the faith is reversed. It doesn't mean that you don't have faith. Quite the contrary. You are full of faith. You have never ever been as strong in your faith as you are right now. But there is this thing where healthy faith always questions itself. Whenever you have certain doubts, whenever you are aspiring to look at things from not just one perspective, but from many, and also where you're trying to put yourself into the position of other people and try to examine what their faith is, or how is their faith guiding their life, guiding their actions and decisions. This isn't like comparing yourself with other people, but it is more like a very strong spiritual empathy where you know your truth, you know what you believe in, you know what guides you, but you're also curious to see what guides other people, because this is the only way you can understand them and eventually perhaps help them or prevent conflicts or not get into heated arguments. This is where you're truly trying to understand both yourself but also other people. And even though this is actually what you should be doing, this is really, really hard. This is not easy. This is even hard spiritually, not to mention psychologically, and at the same time the temperance, you're still trying to hold balance, you're trying to be detached, you're trying to basically adapt the position of the observer, so you're truly trying to do this in the most healthiest way possible. And under the present conditions, especially with what's going on in the world, this is so hard, infinitely hard. And Spirit is just trying to tell you that it's not just proud of you, it's almost like you exceeded all expectations. And Spirit advises you basically to give yourself a huge astral hug, if this makes sense, to shower yourself with so much appreciation and love, because you're ignorant to one very important factor. That is that you're doing things by the book. And when I say by the book, it is the principles of healthy spirituality. Whatever path you're on, well, that path is a path of balance and harmony with everything in existence. Which also means that every day you have a battle with yourself, with the shadow, with doubts, with self-defeating thoughts, and you're winning each and every battle. And of course, this is part of the deal, this is part of the spiritual path. Just that your job is infinitely harder because you live in society, you live in the 21st century, you live amongst people, perhaps in a big city, perhaps you're leading a modern life, like it or not. And this modern life, to be part of modern society, was not really a choice. It was just destiny. It was the way things had to be. So give a lot of credit to yourself, because the symbol of the Buddha, maybe if the Buddha would be here in this day and age and he had to do what he did, under these present moment conditions, it is not 100% that he could have coped with technology, with a lot of empirical science. It is so extremely difficult to hold balance, to keep faith, to be open to the world of the spirit when our lives are filled with information, facts, science, social media, a lot of disruption, a lot of vanity, a lot of fear, a lot of psychological, excuse my words, poop from so many different places. So whenever you look at yourself and your situation, especially from a spiritual perspective, will take your conditions into consideration, because the sages and enlightened spirits of ages long past have accomplished absolutely amazing things, yet they were living in a timeline when nature was much more in control of everything, when nature was sovereign, when nature was an infinite source of nourishment for every single human being alive at that time, which made things a lot easier, of course, from a certain perspective. But you personally don't have that peace, that serenity. You do not have those energies to feed you, inspire you whenever you feel like it. This is where you just cannot decide one day to go and spend 40 days under a tree and reach enlightenment, because perhaps police or law enforcement might take you to a mental hospital. So basically, give yourself credit for all the work that you are doing in this present condition. So of course there are going to be a lot of moments of restlessness, a lot of moments when you might feel a little bit lost, when you will question your faith, when something that someone says, for example another spiritualist or something online, a guru or something that you read, which will make you think really, really deeply about what it means for you personally, etc. And of course this is part of the deal, but when the situation is so delicate, globally, that makes everything extremely hard. And these next cards, the advice and guidance from Spirit, we have the Two of Swords reversed. Now this means that you might have to make some very important decisions or choices in real life, and naturally you want your spirituality and the divine influence to be part of those choices and decisions, and you may have been asking Spirit for guidance, exactly what to choose, what the right choice is, what potential mistakes would be. You might have asked Spirit to give you signs or to set you on the right direction. But you see, this King of Cups is reversed, which means that from an emotional perspective, a psychological perspective, on a deep soul level, you are extremely tired. You have used up so much energy to heal yourself, to contemplate, to align yourself with your inner truth, to refine for example, from an alchemical perspective, your desires, your dreams. You want it to be aligned to your true authentic path, to your higher self, so to speak. And even though you have done a lot of progress, you also have to admit that that is energy, and that is mountains of energy that you basically alchemized and used up. So you're very, very tired, and this is where neither Spirit, neither yourself, neither another person, regardless how much they would love you or adore you or want your highest good, they simply cannot recharge your batteries in a second. So neither the Spirit, neither you yourself, or other people, your friends, family, people who deeply love you. But Spirit is also saying, this is absolutely fine. Do not fear this. Do not feel vulnerable. And most of all, don't fear making the wrong choice. Because you see, the Seven of Wands is very, very strong instinctual energy. A part of us as human beings is instinct. We are connected to nature. We are also animals. We are also part of the animal kingdom, so to speak. So the intelligence, wisdom, and guidance of nature is also within ourselves. And in those moments in life when we truly, truly need that, and perhaps we might not understand things rationally, or we won't have the emotional empowerment to know what to do, what the right or wrong choice is, it's no problem at all, because we have this backup system inside our instincts, inside our gut feelings. So the spirit is advising you not to fear, not to panic, not to overthink, not to overanalyze, because you're already in a position where you cannot make the wrong choice. There is no wrong choice. Because you have worked so much in this past 4 years of your life for your spirituality, for your psychological integrity, self-worth, and basically to lead an honest life, honest regarding with yourself and your soul, so to speak. You already eliminated from your karma, from your destiny, from your basically your sphere of influence, everything that could be wrong. This is where it doesn't really matter what choice you make, because everything leads you to the same place, to the same outcome. It is more like a question of convenience. It is more like a question of what priorities should you be focusing on first and what second. But you know, this list of priorities, it can be rearranged in any way, exactly because you are that loved, you are that guided, you are that supported by the Spirit, because of what you have done, because of your work, because of you lived by example, basically. So even though you cannot see this in your life, you cannot see how Spirit feels towards you, or how very, very proud it is of everything that you have accomplished. That's why you still have moments of worry, moments of panic, moments of fear. You really, really don't want to make a wrong decision, because maybe that was part of a trauma in the past. There was a moment in your life in the past when you were faced with a very, very important decision, and maybe you chose either too quickly, or you let yourself be influenced by other people, or you chose something to serve the greater good of others and not yourself. And of course, it ended up in a very complicated, heartbreaking, soul-shattering situation. And you know, it doesn't matter how much you worked on that. Even if you healed that trauma, even if you basically close the door to the past, you can imagine that your brain, your flesh, as in your physical self, has that memory. And it really doesn't want you to go through that over again. So that is why you might be a little bit fearful. You know, that is why this Two of Swords is combined with this King of Cups, reverse. Because the Two of Swords reverse, you know what to do. You might have the facts, you might have the info, you might have the power to anticipate the outlook, yet emotionally you are not sure, because on one hand you are very, very tired, your soul is tired, and on the other hand, in the past you got burned in a similar situation, but Spirit tells you, have no fear. You are that Seven of Wands. Nothing can defeat you. There is no right or wrong choice, because all paths will lead to your greatest good now, because of the work that you've done. And now the other cards are depicting the close future, where this is leading you, perhaps that choice, that decision, or that action you have to take. Well, look at this, the Fool. The Fool is new beginning. The Fool is starting a fresh page. Perhaps that is why this King of Cups is reversed, that you feel so very tired. Because maybe right now you are stuck between a chapter that already has closed in your life and one that has to open. You're stuck between the past and the future. Now let's use an analogy. When you read a book and you finish a chapter, in some book the next chapter doesn't just start on the same page, but there might be a blank page between the two to separate them. And right now you're at that blank chapter, there is nothing written there, so you don't know what's coming. You're basically in a very blank mode, waiting to turn the page and start reading the first words of the new chapter. But because you're at that blank page, well, you can imagine that you simultaneously remember the past chapter that you have read. You have the conclusions, but you're also anticipating what comes next. You're anticipating, you're very curious and excited about where the story leads to next, etc. So it is almost like reading your life story, your life's book. But this is not a bad thing whatsoever, because this is the energy of the Fool. And there is a very big reason why you're in this state, even if it's uncomfortable, and as I said, you're tired, and even emotionally you might be a little bit grumpy, you might not really be feeling all the love and support right now, but that is fine, because that is the energy where when you begin anew very soon, and perhaps your new beginning might have nothing to do with that important choice you have to make. Maybe in a few days, maybe in a week, maybe in 2 weeks, that big choice that is unsettling you right now won't even matter whatsoever, because a new beginning just falls in your lap. And that is exactly why this blank chapter, the zero, the energy of the zero is so important, because that also means beginner's luck. And beginner's luck is one of the most amazing, playful, and miraculous energies that one can possibly embody. And of course, what follows is this Three of Swords reversed. Now, the Three of Swords in upright position would mean a lot of fear, a lot of heartache, a lot of struggle, feeling alone, the past weighing heavily down upon you. And as I said, exactly because you've already been facing a similar situation in the past, and that led to a kind of trauma or something, the memory of the event is in your brain, it is in your neurochemistry, if this makes sense. So basically your physical self, your brain, stored that memory, and even though you kind of know and believe and truly trust that it won't repeat the same way again, your body is still a little bit anxious. And that, look at that Four of Swords in the first part of the spread. Well, that is big restlessness. Even in your sleep or your dreams, you're a little bit restless. But that is exactly why this is going to be so very good, because that Fool card, your new beginning, is also going to heal your heartache. It is going to heal whatever trauma the past left. Because also, your physical self, your brain, your physical senses, once you will be living that new beginning with the beginner's luck, with a lot of support from the universe in the most miraculous ways, that very positive event is also going to be stored in your brain, and it will override the past trauma, and there you're gonna be healed even physically. And what comes next is the Magician. The Magician actually follows the Fool card in tarot. The Fool is 0, the Magician is 1. One is singularity, one is focus, one is being in control of your life and everything in it, It is also very magical energy. So basically, you are becoming a magician once more, being able to work with all of the blessings you are going to receive, which, yes, are blessings, but you don't forget that you worked for them. You really, really tried your hardest. You overcame all of your limitations, and that is why Spirit is so proud of you. And Spirit is already celebrating your new life. Spirit is already celebrating your happiness and well-being. Spirit has like a huge smile because it knows what you do not know. It sees what you do not see. It sees the happiness. It sees you in your position of power. It sees you without fear, without worries, without restlessness. It sees you being who you truly were destined to become. So this is where it doesn't really care all that much about how a little bit anxious or restless you're feeling right now, because it's a matter of a very short time and that ends. So Spirit is waiting just like you for that very special moment to arrive. But until that moment arrives, you are the Seven of Wands. You are Hercules. No emotional vulnerability, no fatigue, no feeling drained, no even anxiety can stop you now. So it's too late for that. If any kind of forces, inner or outer, want to stop you, they already failed. There is no way you're turning back. There is no way you're falling back into old patterns. You've already succeeded. Just that you don't know it that very clearly yet. As in, you feel it in your heart, and I am 1,000,000% that you see the kind of spiritual messages that it's already yours, or you're already there, or embrace your blessing, or whatever. You might be seeing all of these because that is what Spirit is screaming at you, because that's what's going on karmically and astrally. And even if there were like forces, inner or outer, or people or not so good intended spirits who might have caused you a lot of inconveniences, to doubt yourself, depression, etc. in the past 4 years, they failed. So the Seven of Wands, especially in that particular deck, it is depicted like a king cobra. You cannot be stopped anymore. And no evil entity or a bad-willed person or a toxic person dares to approach you, because your frequency is so very fiery and high that they have no chance. So basically, just do whatever you can to stay strong in the present moment. The Temperance card at the beginning, you're doing all that you can. And it's absolutely fine, because what is meant for you is coming and it cannot be stopped. So let that comfort you and let that give you strength to continue embodying both the Temperance and that Seven of Wands. For those of you who have chosen the Totem, I'm not really sure if this picture is high quality enough to show all the details of this figurine, but it is a totem. It is some kind of Aztec sun god type of figurine holding a pyramid in its lap and with a sun on its forehead. So I just specified this in case you cannot really make out what it is from the picture, and I do apologize for that. So for those of you who have chosen the Totem, your cards are the Nine of Air, the Magician, and the Ace of Fire. The guidance from the Spirit is the Moon, the Four of Swords, and the Ten of Swords reversed. And where this is leading you, there is the Eight of Coins, the Moon, and the Empress. Now straight away, we have double Moon. So this means that whatever you're doing right now, let's say whichever period you're going through right now, it is guided by your soul, by your divine spark. It is extremely important for you, not just from a karmic perspective, as in whatever has to take place, in this life, in this journey, etc. But also it is very, very important of who you are, what you are outside of matter and flesh, outside of your human identity. You are integrating something big, 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 big into your spirit. And the spirit is immortal and it's timeless. So basically, this is your eternal self. You're integrating something in it, and chances are something extremely useful, beneficial, and positive. It is almost like a graduation moment from a spiritual perspective, but I must repeat, this may not have that much to do, with this lifetime, but with everything who you are eternally. This is, they say, especially, the author Gary Zakov, that Earth is like a karmic school. Earth is where souls, spirits learn how to embody their roles in the universe. Every spirit, every soul with their each individual lesson. And for you personally, for your being, this is like a graduation moment. This is where you're handed the diploma for something big that you have accomplished. And I repeat, not just in this lifetime, in this incarnation, but all that you ever were and all that you have ever done. So it's very, very important. And because this is so very powerful, your human self might find it extremely hard to process it, because this will have implications and repercussions even in this incarnation, and actually even from a very material and physical perspective, because this will not just change your life, this will upgrade everything. This will upgrade your game. But now let's take a look at the cards. Well, the Nine of Air is the Nine of Swords. So this means that you have been through one of the lowest moments of your existence. Maybe not right now, not in the present, but in the past 9 years, you have had moments of deep depression, moments of losing everything, moments of feeling like you're actually dying, moments when basically something inside of you started eating you up, consuming you. So you guys had a really tough, challenging, almost like an episode out of the Twilight Zone moments in the past 9 years of your life. It was almost like a part of you, wanted to live, wanted to do things the right way, especially from a social perspective, from a human perspective, job, career, friends, family, relationship, all of that. But there was something inside of you, almost like an inner rebel, like an inner demon, so to speak. Maybe your Lilith, from an astrological perspective, Dark Moon Lilith, which rebelled against education. It rebelled against social standards and norms. It rebelled against everything that was like imposed upon you, regardless if directly or, this is the law, this is how we do things, so you have to submit. So basically you might have had such a hard time holding down a job, even if you were very good at it, even if you were actually appreciated, emotionally speaking, even if your colleagues admired you and loved you, but something always happened which just twisted and turned things, either material problems, money, resources, house, illness, depression or someone in your family having problems and you had to give up everything. And then maybe in 2019, you had such a strong episode of the Dark Night of the Soul where you truly thought that this is it, this is the end. This is where you have to say goodbye to life, because you felt almost like the entire cosmos, the divine itself, was working against you. But of course, at the same time, you were always someone who was really, really strong on a spiritual journey. But when you were younger, you were very, very eclectic. Maybe you were into shamanism, druidism, nature, Wicca. You studied so many different philosophies, maybe magic. And you excelled at everything. You were really, really powerful, knowledgeable. You were very intuitive. And basically, you always landed on your feet, no matter what troubles, complications, etc. life threw at you. Through your magic, through your own individual guidance system. And basically, you're a very magical person. You are magic incarnate. So, of course, everything always worked out, sometimes in the most miraculous of ways. But this is where maybe in 2019, everything failed. Everything was the opposite of what it should be. And basically, it was like a death. The old self, the old magician, the old druid shaman, whatever it is that you were, unfortunately, passed on. It was absorbed into yourself. And not because you did anything wrong, quite the contrary. You did so many good things. But all of what you have done, even though it was wonderful, it was too limitative. Now let me just give you an analogy. In your younger years or before 2019, let's say, you always thought of yourself as a child of Mother Nature, a protector, a healer of Mother Nature. After 2019, maybe you found that you were just an adopted child because you're a cosmic being. You remember things which go beyond earthly existence. So basically, it's not just past lives here on earth, but it is past lives where you were not really a physical being. And that just added to that 9 of swords, 9 of air. Because are you crazy? Are you having a moment of psychosis? Are you really losing the plot here? Because to go beyond the earthly sphere in that extent was never like you. Because you were very, very rational and down to earth always. But how can you not be? Because, you worked with the energies of the earth. Spirit of the earth or spirit of Mother Nature, ancestors, especially if you're shamanic. So those visions and downloads and everything that has happened was totally on a different level and scale. But it might not really matter all that much because you're through that. That phase is done. Because look at the cards, the Magician. So basically, you already have certain skills, power, strength, knowledge, abilities, techniques, ways of manifestation, whatever that is, which are already the next level. So you're actually doing it, using it, learning and teaching at the same time, experimenting, philosophizing, prophesizing, everything that is part of this new self, this new standard even. And look at the next card, this Ace of Fire, the Ace of Wands. You kind of know that you have been reborn. You kind of know that you are a new person even in this incarnation. You know that your egg and cocoon has already hatched and you're out. But because all of what you've been through, both the bad, the dark night of the soul, but also these miracles that have taken place in your life, the powers that now you possess, the knowledge that now you possess, and this act of rebirth, because you already have this, you might not necessarily know what to do with it. I'm not saying that you're feeling lost, but you are leading a double life because you are this very strong spiritual being present here on earth. But you also have a physical life, you're still part of society, you're still part of the human collective, you're still part of Mother Nature. So what next? What are you actually gonna do with it? What's your role? Of course, you do know a part of your role. A part of your role, the most important part, is to live life, just be, and just be your magical self. You are magic, so basically it doesn't matter what you do. You can cook, you can go out in the park, you can go shopping, you can do the most basic human things and still be magic, and still basically be a portal of magic. You just need to be somewhere and magical things happen. Perhaps not directly in your life, but in the lives of others. Whenever you meet a new person, whenever you have new connections, something always happens, something magical, something unusual in their lives. So you kind of know, you kind of see it each and every day that every footstep of yours is followed by magic or by manifestations. But that doesn't actually mean that you have a straight forward, well-defined image and a plan of what comes next. You kind of feel like you're put on hold, like the power and the rebirth and the cosmic consciousness is wonderful, a blessing. You're infinitely grateful. Your heart sings. But what next? What do you do with it? And this is where the guidance comes in. Well, we have the moon and the Four of Swords. So it means you do feel that you're stagnating. You do feel that, yes, on a soul level, so much is happening. Yet in physical reality, you still don't know what to do next. You haven't found your allies. You haven't accomplished all that much, as in, like, very, very down-to-earth things like that job, the car, or the house, or the money, or the income, or the lover, or whatever it is that, as a human being, you need to work on right now. Not much has happened. And basically, you can truly feel that this moon, your soul is working. Your soul is on overtime. It's almost like sometimes you're literally possessed by your soul. It is so very strong and powerful. And the spirit is saying, through this Ten of Swords reversed, that you have had so very many losses the past 9 years of your life, especially 2019. So basically, those have to return to your life in a new form. May that be, if it was a divorce, then a new partner. If it was money, then money. If it was a house, new house. If it was job, career, then something to act like a job and career in your life. So the spirit is actually telling you that you are a little bit way too ahead. You're not really living the present, but you're actually living the future. To close the past and uproot yourself from the past is one thing, but you kind of overdid it in the sense that you're living in the future, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So basically, reality itself has to catch up with you. And the next phase is you recovering. The next phase is you karmically getting back everything that you lost. But basically, you skipped that step. But the universe is infinitely wise and knowledgeable and intelligent, and that's why it's holding you in place. It is basically telling you, Well, hold your horses. It doesn't matter how powerful you are. It doesn't matter what actually happened outside your human self, because your human self needs money, your human self needs that life. So it is basically gonna hold you in place until karma can restore everything that you lost. This Ten of Wands reversed is the opposite of defeat and surrender. It is recuperation, regeneration, replacing everything that was needed to be sacrificed. And that doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't matter how powerful you are. It doesn't matter how magical you are. Because, you cannot manifest that instantly, because you would upset the balance of the universe. Upset the balance of so many people's lives who you're connected with. So basically, because you are someone who protects and nurtures and provides balance in the universe, you cannot work against that, even if you need it now, even if it's urgent. You just cannot manifest it instantly because you're way too powerful. Another analogy, let's say the manifestation power of an average spiritualist or a spiritual person is like a firecracker, boom, and sparks and a little bit of explosion, and there it is. But your power of manifestation after your transformation, well, it's like an atomic bomb. So basically the universe is keeping you in a harness because you don't know your own strength yet. And as comfortable as this might be, as frustrated as you might feel, well, this is what it is. So basically the spirit is telling you that rather than, navigating in the unknown future, basically through your meditation and your higher function of your cerebral activities, you're basically time traveling. Emotionally, you're picking up events that are gonna be part of your future. So that is why you sense a very strong happiness, joy, bliss, busyness, where you're working, you're cooperating, you're meeting other people. And you might have like visions of your new house or your new surroundings or your new daily routines. And this might be like a vision or a daydream, but that from a spiritual perspective, you are actually time traveling into the future. It's absolutely wonderful, but you don't belong there. You have to return to the present and allow this Ten of Swords reverse to take place in your life. So receive it, accept it, demand it, use the firecracker and not the atomic bomb. So this is what Spirit would like you to know. Return to the present. Allow physical reality to catch up with you and basically to restore your life, even physically, materially, whatever it takes. And then you can do all of those big things. And where this is heading you, the Eight of Coins. This is where you have to embody your mastery. It may mean a new, and when I say new, it's not like a new career, but an innovation, a career which doesn't even exist yet. Like a profession or like an activity which you are inventing right now, or someone else is inventing it and you're going to be part of it. The moon, obviously it's part of your soul. It is why you came in this timeline. So basically that is the work that you will have to do. May that be teaching or using one of your skills, one of your masteries, one of your talents. Maybe creativity. It can be absolutely anything. And it's also part of your soul purpose, the moon. And more importantly, your place in the world in a quite literal sense. So that means other people, a community, a place, a house, etc. And finally, the Empress. Living life to the fullest, being happy in your own life, giving the Caesar what is rightfully the Caesar's, nourishing your body, enjoying your beauty, enjoying the love of others, maybe being in a loving relationship, exploring your sexuality, living all those things that Nine of Swords prevented you in the past 9 years. So that is healing, regeneration in a very physical sense. Being happy is a key word here, because now that you know that happiness comes from within and it's basically a choice, after you get everything that you need, well, that is what you have to do. It is your duty for yourself. And this is where the not so favorable expression of the moon comes into play, because you do have the tendency, after you get what you want, to go on the next adventure immediately and not enjoy the fruits of your labor. You just say, oh, I accomplished this, how great, now what's next? Let's start a new adventure. This is where, no, you have to enjoy it, savor it, live it, just be. And the Empress can be love as well as in a romantic relationship, soulmate connection or whatever. Well, that is where you won't take the whip and just slave drive both of you to do this and that, the next big project, or save the world, or who knows what it is. No, that is where you live the love story. And when both of your hearts are overflowing with happiness and love, then you can go to the next project, the next adventure, the next big thing. And once again, this is a situation where you don't know your own strength, so don't let your strength and your willingness to do defeat you. So enjoy. The most important part is to enjoy and live life, and just leave the rest to your soul, because it knows what it's doing. And at the same time, the Empress is Mother Nature. It is the spirit of Gaia. And because you truly protected her, you loved her, you were loyal, you were actually devoted to her, and you done a lot of great things for her, not just in this lifetime. Well, naturally, she wants you to be happy. She wants to reward you. And one of the biggest rewards she can give you is the kind of love that just blows your mind. So allow your mother, even if it's an adopted mother, to treat you as you deserve. And do not forget, that is a mother's greatest pleasure in life, to see her child prosper and be happy. So please allow her to experience this through you and with you and through that very special person as well. For those of you who were guided to the unicorn sitting on the enchanted mirror, your cards are the Four of Pentacles, Four of Swords, and Queen of Pentacles. The guidance is Three of Fire, the Emotion and Intellect Oracle card, and the Union Oracle card. And where this is leading you is the Six of Cups, Six of Wands, and 10 of Pentacles. Now, first of all, those who have chosen the unicorn, well, you guys are naturally very, very magical people and have always been in connection to the world of the spirit from early childhood. Not only did you always have a sixth sense, but you might have always been attracted to certain kind of entities and spirits who protect children or who are very, very childlike. Like, for example, like fairies or nymphs or lesser angels, spirits who protect life and nature. And these spirits or these entities might have shown themselves to you, not sure if physically or through dreams, but they were always around you. You are the kind of person who just has to turn off the lights, light a candle, and turn your phone, your camera on with flash, and you can see in your room all those spirit orbs, etc. And you might have also been someone who was always fascinated by the paranormal, by the occult, but not in a very traditional sense, but rather in a light-hearted sense where it brings you joy. You feel that you're part of it. You feel so much freedom, so much imagination, so much fantasy and inspiration. You might have been someone who loves stories, who loves reading children books, who might love anime, or basically who is really dominated by the inner child and childlike energies. So basically your spiritual path and spirituality has a lot to do with freedoms as a non-traditional, non-rigid, non-set in stone. For example, it's not like religious, it's not like ceremonial, it is much more like artistic and dreamy and quite freely philosophical. So I do believe that a lot of you are artists or are artistic, or it has been your greatest desire to basically make a living with your fantasy, with your inner creativity, to kind of bring into the physical plane that which your spirit, your inner child is inspired with. You want to basically inspire and enchant the lives of others, may that be through song or through painting, through creativity, fashion, beauty, or maybe actually tarot cards, or oracle, or you want to basically make the lives of others just a tiny bit more magical, but in a very light-hearted manner. And this is where your present situation is Four of Pentacles, Four of Swords, and this Queen of Pentacles. So Spirit is telling you that you already accomplished a big dream of yours, as in exactly what I have been speaking about. You already are that artistic person, you already have plans or a business or produce something. So all this coin energy means that you are actually working with your talent or skill or whatever creativity, and it's also either a business or a collaboration, or it is producing you an income, money, the Four of Coins, earthly power. And it is also really good source of evolution for you, and not spiritual evolution, but quite earthly evolution, as in skill, professional, job-wise, industry-wise. You're learning to become much more proficient, a better business person, a better manager of your time, resources, money, creativity. So this is where the inner child also has to learn how to be an inner adult. And this Four of Coins also depicts that you have a lot of support in your life. Maybe not like money, maybe not like sponsors, but the feedback you get and the success that your work has is quite significant. It is nothing like the past. It is not amateur. It is not just a wannabe. It is real. You're doing it. So basically you are living the first phases of your success story. Now the problem is this Four of Swords. Well, this means that things are not going as quickly as you want them to be. And this is where it's actually you who are a little bit childish and naive and unfair, because Rome wasn't built in a day. So even though you really wanted to just pick up speed and for you to have a lot of resources and money, and by this I really don't mean to live a life of luxury or to do this and that, because you just want to invest it into your work. You want to grow, you want to get bigger, you want to inspire even more people, perhaps teach other people, perhaps include other people, partnerships, cooperation, collaboration. Maybe go to uni, finish a course, upgrade your business as soon as possible, even though You are just experiencing the first phases of success. Well, you already want to take it bigger. And of course, there is nothing wrong with that, because this is a very ambitious attitude. But at the same time, with all your magic, with all your magical allies, even with the constant flow of spirit and guidance in your life, well, you can imagine that it's not going to be as quick as you need it to be. So you do have moments when you feel a little bit frustrated, when you feel a little bit not supported. You do have down moments. But with this Queen of Pentacles, well, the Spirit is telling you, a business or a career or whatever you're doing, well, it is like your child. It is when a mother is pregnant with a child. Even after the child is born, well, it is still a baby. It is helpless. It cannot walk and talk and bring you all the pleasures and joys that a child brings, as in the laughter, playing together, going out together, going on walks, doing naughty things, of course, because that's also part of having a child. The funny things that the children say. You know, when a child is newborn, you just have to allow it to bring you great pleasure and joy as a newborn. So even when it cries, even if it has so very many needs, that is a phase of being a parent. So your creation is just the same as a newborn. Right now, like it or not, you have to support it, you have to work, you have to have the faith, you have to have the energy, you have to have the patience, because it is growing. But until you get that great prosperity, some time has to pass, at least 4 months. So basically look at your success from a rather realistic sense. You already succeeded, you're already doing it, you are on the right path. A lot of things have already come together, whereas perhaps a year ago, 2 years ago, all of this was absolutely nothing and you had no chance. So look at your success from the perspective of this Queen of Coins. What you have in the present moment is already such a big deal. Now, as the guidance, the Spirit tells you through this 3 of Fire, 3 of Wands in Tarot, that, you know, maybe materially it is stagnating a little bit right now, because you have so many needs and you want to invest into so very many things, but that doesn't mean that the energy itself is stagnating. The 3 of Wands means new opportunities, new perspectives, maybe new business from a foreign country, international business, new offers, new people finding your work, finding whatever it is that you do, offers, admiration, spreading the word, your notoriety growing. So yes, maybe, you know, the income in itself, the figures, the numbers is stagnating a little bit. It is not as quick as you want it to be, but the energy is there, it is growing, it is dynamic. You are innovating every single day. You have so many good ideas. You have so many sources of inspiration. So the Spirit tells you, rather than feel a little bit frustrated and focusing on the blockages, rather write down these ideas, the new perspectives, the new plans, the new inspiration, and at the same time, be open to collaborations, be open to new business, be open to, you know, others finding you, because that is already an active part of your life in the present right now. And that is how Spirit is helping you actually. Spirit is not dropping the sack of coins out of the air into your lap, but Spirit is working through other people, guiding them to you, so it is working. And the next card, Emotion and Intellect. Spirit is telling you, you are one of those very rare people who has a very high emotional intelligence, but also IQ. And that is such a huge blessing that basically you could not even comprehend it, because you cannot see yourself as objectively when someone is both empathic and a genius and a visionary and also playful and also lighthearted and also imaginative. Well, what more could you possibly ask for? Because of you who you are, and because now you truly appreciate yourself and you discovered yourself and you accepted yourself and you love yourself. You truly, truly love yourself now. And it wasn't always like that, but that is exactly why you're right now doing all the things that you wanted to do, because you found yourself and you found inside of you infinite wealth. You're like a multi-millionaire. You're from a spiritual and creative and fantasy, imaginative, artistic perspective. You're like one of the richest people in the world alive right now. And what follows is union. Well, that is very simple. That inner rich, that inner wealth has to manifest. It's impossible not to. So just be patient and allow your intellect and emotion to do the work that needs to be done. You don't need all your projects, all your plans, all your inventions, so to speak, to be successful. You need just a few of them to turn big, and you have absolutely everything. And also, through this union, the Spirit is telling you that every guidance you ever received is almost like the mirror of what I'm telling you right now. You heard this story a million times over and over again. And even though you had so many moments when you doubted it, you had so many moments when you thought the opposite, still look at what you're doing right now. Look at your situation right now. Did you ever possibly imagine that you will be doing this as successfully and as masterfully as you're doing it right now? So that means that Spirit was true to its word. So you have all the reasons to trust this union, completion, that things will truly come together for you and for the future. 6 of Cups, pleasure, fulfillment, a childhood dream of yours coming into existence by the 6 of Wands. So it's not like a miracle. It's not like, like, let me just give you another analogy. Someone going to the X Factor and winning it. You don't need any of that, because the 6 of Wands means the ultimate triumph. It means that everything that you have worked for until this moment, all your life, that work is both material, your studies, psychological, fighting your inner demons, purging yourself from doubt, healing your traumas, learning and basically feeding your spirituality with love, with understanding, finding your true identity as an artist or whatever it is that you do, your style and everything that you have done, school or higher education, even if it might not have anything to do directly with what you're doing right now, but the process of learning and using your intellect in any way, shape or form, that evolved you, that is work that you invested into yourself. So the 6 of Wands represents that is triumphant, that is getting exactly what you worked for. So basically you had this childhood dream and you trusted the universe that it will guide you to it, despite the fact that you had so many failures in the past and you have done so many things which had nothing to do with your dream, which was the sacrifice that you had to make in order to learn and to prepare yourself. But because your intention was so very clear, even when you were a child, the universe said, let's do this together, but follow my lead. Trust me. We are not going to walk the path paved by others. We're not going to walk the journey that others have taken, we're going to take a detour, we're going to take a shortcut, we are going to create our own path, our own unique ways. And why? So that nothing ever, external, internal, spiritual, earthly, cosmic, extraterrestrial, call it whatever you want, that no force in the universe can take your victory, can take the accomplishment of your dreams away from you. So that is why your path was so unusual, so up and down, so full of failures and so many random unusual events, because you had to do it your way. You had to find your own strength to accomplish your dreams, which means no help from parents, which means no one pumping money into you, no one believing in you, no friends to help you. It means you had to do it your own. And that's why your life was so hard. So don't take it personally because it was towards your greatest advantage. Just look at other artists or what other people who kind of do what you have started. They had so much support, either school or people in high places, wealthy parents, they won or whatever. You had nothing and you're still here. You're doing it, you're living it. And the 10 of coins. That means jackpot. That means ultimate mastery. And that means, yes, of course, wealth and money and material situation, etc. But what is more important, the legacy that you will leave to future generations. Your life's work has just begun. So imagine what is to follow. May that 10 of coins be a book, a research, anything that you leave for the children of the future. Your dream is your path to immortality because your work is gonna make you immortal. Like a big artist, a big philosopher, you get what I'm saying. So basically the spirit is telling you, shut up and trust it. Because it didn't actually ever fail you, and in your heart of hearts you know that. So just be honest and just trust it and work and don't be impatient. Well, this concludes today's guidance. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for all the likes, all the shares, all the beautiful comments. If you'd like to support my work and channel, and if you would like to help me create many more such pick a card readings in the future, you can donate on my PayPal link, which can be found in the description below. Thank you once again and wish everyone a magical weekend. Until next time, bye for now.